What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hopefully you're having a wonderful day so far. But let's get into some of the shocking news and the warning that I want to give a lot of you. So right now, the United States is seeing a lot of problems on the horizon. We know that many Americans at this point are relying pretty much 100% on a fourth stimulus check coming through. However, at this time, it's not a guaranteed thing. We also know student debt forgiveness might not even happen, and more Democrats, not Republicans, but Democrats worry that spending is growing out of control. So let me address what is going on right now and how this is going to impact all of us, because I think right now a lot of people have more questions and I want to address those. So first, I know a lot of you guys are, speculating on the fourth stimulus check. I know we talk about it all the time here on this channel, and it's because more and more lawmakers are discussing it. But the truth is, it's not a guaranteed thing. Until you have it in your hand, it's not guaranteed. Even the third stimulus check, there are still millions of Americans who have yet to receive it. Hopefully tomorrow they get it. Hopefully soon everybody will have one, but millions and millions of Americans are not receiving a third stimulus check for $1,400. So again, the stimulus checks are not guaranteed income. But here's what we know. Honestly, I believe after listening to a lot of experts, watching interviews, reading different articles, things like that, that a fourth stimulus check will most likely happen. However, it won't be the stimulus check that you and I are accustomed to. It won't be going to almost every single American. It just won't. It won't be going to the higher tiered income earners. It's just not going to go to them, because right now, the set of checks that we will most likely see will be very different. They're going to go to the lower income individuals and families. It will most likely only reflect the income that was earned in 2020. This is a big shift. You will not be able to claim 2019 income. It would have to only be on 2020, according to multiple reports, because this was the year that everybody was impacted. So we cannot go off of 2019 anymore. But many lawmakers want to see an additional stimulus check, but many also want to limit the unnecessary spending. But what does unnecessary spending mean? Well, according to one lawmaker, this means we cannot be giving stimulus checks to people that currently have a job and make more than the federal minimum wage, which, if you take $7.25, you multiply it by 40 hours for the week, multiplied by 52 weeks out of the year, it's a little bit over $15,000. So what they're saying, what this lawmaker is pretty much alluding to is, I am okay with passing an additional stimulus check to anybody making, let's say, less than $20,000 per year for an individual. That means a couple, $40,000 per year. But let me know down in the comment section below, do you make, as an individual or as a couple, would you fall under that income limit of under $20,000 as an individual or $40,000 as a couple? Let me know. Would you qualify, and how would this stimulus check help you out? Again, these are just talks. These are just ideas being thrown around right now. These ideas are still in the infancy stages. They're still trying to figure out what they can do and what the American people want them to do. But here's the real issue. The real issue right now that we are facing is actually amongst all lawmakers, both Republican and Democrats. The progressives at this time they're trying to propose things that are very expensive, according to a few reports. Even though some of these things would work and they'd help out millions of people, and some of these ideas are great, some say that this is not the time to do it. This is just not the time to do it. Like expanding Medicare. There are a few reports saying that right now is not the time to do it. Although there's other reports that counter that argument, saying no, now is the perfect time to do it because more and more Americans need help. So again, it really just depends on what side you're on. But right now what we're hearing is many are more worried now than ever that we will see runaway inflation if a $4 trillion infrastructure bill is actually passed. And this makes some wonder, should we tone it down a bit? And this is actually what I guess was brought up yesterday during the meeting with President Biden, is how willing are you to negotiate down from your top line numbers? Not necessarily just the tax hikes from going from 21% of a corporate tax hike or tax rate to 28%. That was brought up several times. But according to a report this afternoon, what was actually brought up was, well, that as well as, are you willing to come down from your $2.25 trillion infrastructure package number? How likely are you to drop that? Right now, President Biden, he initially said that he's willing to negotiate, but we don't know how much. Today, we did get the CPI, it's the Consumer Price Index, that did come out today. It was only 2.6% higher year over year from last March. However, 2.6% is still a fairly big jump, especially when you consider people on Social Security. They only got 1.3% as a cost of living adjustment. So right here, it is showing that they are still falling a little bit further and further behind. This also means that some increases, what we did see is some of these increases were a lot more than expected. For instance, gas and oil. You guys have probably seen when you go put gas in your car or fill up the lawnmower or whatever, you jet ski your boat or whatever you want to do, I guess. But you probably have seen year over year it's gotten a little bit more expensive. Well, it's actually went up over 20%. 20% from last March. That's a big jump. 20%. And again, let's go back to people on Social Security. They got a 1.3% cost of living adjustment, but yet gas and oil went up 20%. This makes some people ask, are we forgetting about some people when we go and pass these different bills and provide relief and stimulus to certain groups of the economy? Yeah, you're forgetting about people on Social Security. Again, it makes me wonder, it's kind of sickening. Like, how do you forget about this large group of people? Very important group of people. I think every single person is extremely important, but this is a very large group of people. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm more worried than Congress is about people on Social Security, elderly, and the people that have pretty much paved the way for my generation here in the United States. But again, I don't know. But again, why does all this matter? Why does the CPI data, why does, what lawmakers say and what they want to do, how much President Biden's willing to pass, if this bill even passes, why does this all matter in regards to another stimulus check? Well, here's why. An additional stimulus check or an extension of unemployment benefits or let's say the permanent extension, permanent fixture of the child tax credit, all these things kind of play into this because right now the national debt for the United States as of this week is surpassed $28 trillion. $28 trillion. And yet we are talking about including additional stimulus checks, which I think are needed. I honestly think they're needed. Okay, I really do. Even when I drive down the street, right? Or, I'm going through, downtown Seattle, and I see there's tent after tent after tent go under an underpass. There's tent after tent after tent. So many people are homeless. It's not just in Seattle. It's all over the country, right? Obviously I'm just speaking of what I know, here in Washington, but, everywhere, there's a homeless crisis. But according to Angus King, okay, because again, I think stimulus checks are needed. I also think unemployment, we might need to see an extension of that. Maybe not to the $300 per week, but again, I don't know. It all depends on where the economy is, what the unemployment rate is, if businesses are opened up, are we going to be missing about 2 or 3 million jobs come this fall that will never come back? Some experts say yes. Others say, I don't know. We will have to wait and see. But here's what one lawmaker said. Angus King, he came out today and he said that he thinks interest rates are going to rise. And if interest rates rise, the United States would not be able to afford the interest-only payments that they currently owe on $28 trillion. And to make matters worse, he says the interest-only payments would exceed the government's fiscal spending if they were to rise to 5%. Now, 5% interest rates aren't bad. If you were to buy a house, yeah, they're not great when you should be right about 3% right now, a little bit under. But what you need to understand is that right now, lawmakers are worried. They're extremely worried. Because if we see interest rates rise, then yes, we could see the United States cannot afford their interest-only payments. Well, how else would they combat this? What would they have to do? Well, they'd have to get the money from the American people or from businesses. If they already raise taxes on large corporations, what's the next step? It would be to raise taxes on every single American. And that is where some are saying that, no, this isn't right. You cannot give a stimulus check, cannot give unemployment benefits, you cannot give a child tax credit, you cannot give assistance and relief to the American people, and then come at the end of the year, you say, oh, you owe us this much money back in taxes, and you just take it all back. That's not fair. It's not right. So we will see. But again, why does all this matter? Why does all this matter? It matters because the more spending that we see right now, the higher the chance of spending crisis actually happening, according to many experts. This is why some are warning that all of us, that another stimulus check can't happen unless the Biden administration figures out a way to get corporate tax hikes through. And as of right now, it seems really unlikely, because there are some moderate Democrats and all Republicans that currently oppose this. This also makes getting a bill with stimulus checks, unemployment benefits, the $200 per month for Social Security beneficiaries that President Biden promised as a campaign promise, which he hasn't really brought up ever since then. That for Social Security, so much more. It makes it very hard to get this through, because every single dollar that is spent, the Biden administration has to figure out a way, hopefully to get bipartisan support, but figure out a way to get this bill paid for. We can't see a huge deficit. If we see a huge deficit, right now some are warning that they would not vote for this bill. So what I can tell you right now is everything is currently hanging in the balance. What we will see from this next bill is dependent on how the bill will be paid for. That is according to multiple reports. If this bill is not paid for in the right way, and again, what's the right way? Nobody knows. But the report says if it's not paid for in the right way, then a lot of the stuff that we see will not happen. So, will the wealthy pay for this bill? Will we see large corporations finally pay their share in taxes so that the lower income individuals can hopefully narrow the wealth gap? Maybe. Or will we see everything simply maintain its course like it has for years? That is currently what some are saying has the most likely scenario for happening, is things will just stay status quo. So we will see. Right now, lawmakers don't know what way things are going to swing, but they are desperately working on it. Now, they just got back from recess, so we will see what happens there. But this also brings up the question, what about student debt? What about student debt forgiveness? Because this is what a lot of Democrats are currently fighting for. Well, according to a few reports, forgiving this amount of debt at this time would only cripple the economy. It would eventually help those that are saddled with this debt to be larger contributing factors into the economy. But in the meantime, this would take out over $1 trillion in potential revenue away from the government. So that's why they're saying, this report is saying that it will simply cripple the economy, because it's taking away about, I think it's like $1.21 trillion from the government. It would pull that away. So right now, some are saying that's not the best move, especially at this time. And if we are to forgive $50,000 in student debt, it's a little too much. It's a little too rich, according to a few reports. Some lawmakers say yes, they could get behind $5,000 to $10,000, but $50,000 is seen as highly unlikely. Now, according to a few reports, the Biden administration is closely watching all the numbers. They are looking at the infrastructure bill from all sides, and they're determining how large they can and are willing to go. So at this time, right now, all we can do is just wait. All we can do is wait and to see and really see what they decide to do. Honestly, it's tough to sit here and wait and just watch. Oh, they're going to decide what our future looks like. They're going to decide, whether we can afford a house. They're the ones that decide whether we have money because they forgive our student loans, or they give us a stimulus check and we put food on the table, or whatever. It's up to them. It's really up to them at this point. So I know this is scary, but as of right now, this is where we're at. As always, just want to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your day. I know this wasn't the most exciting and most optimistic video, but again, I try to give you all sides. I think that is what I do very well here on this channel, is I don't just give you the very positive news. I also give you the bad news. I want you to be able to determine for yourself what kind of where we're at. So again, I try to be right in the middle, try to give you both sides, the good and the bad, and you can do with that information as you wish. So again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Consider subscribing so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on, and I'll see you guys on the next one.